Good afternoon. I hope everyone is well considering the circumstances that we're in. Um, right now, most of us, I know we're kind of working at a distance at this time. And I hope all can hear. Okay. All right, so if you're in here, some of you may have taught online for the first time. Some of you may teach online on a regular basis. But this video is going to be about creating a quiz in Moodle and maybe, creating question banks using the notepad. Now, some of you may use Respondus 4.0. Some of you may use the 4.0. And if you have, you know that it doesn't always operate the way that it's supposed to. If we're just being honest here. However, if you're using basic multiple choice or true and false questions, you can also import this from a text file. And I hope that you all can hear me. If so, just type in the chat, just kind of give me an indication that you can. Okay, good deal. All right, so I'm getting ready to share my screen in just a moment. Okay, so you should now see my screen, and you should see a notepad. So I'm gonna log into Moodle in just a moment. And thank you, Lyle, for the code, by the way. And I'm gonna go to one of my dummy courses. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm in. So now, if you have never taught online, if you want to create a quiz, you would scroll down to the module you want. First, you will turn your editing on in your course, and then you'll add an activity. You'll select quiz, and then you'll give the quiz a name. So I'm selecting quiz, and I'm going to add right there. And you can give the quiz any name you want. And then I'm going to save it. And right now there are no questions. You can edit the quiz, and you can add a question from a question bank, a random question, or a new question. And these are the choices that you have. With multiple choice questions, you would give the question a name here, you would type your text, and these are where your choices will go. And for the correct choice, you're going to have the score be 100%. And for any incorrect choice, you're going to have your choice be 0%. Now, some of you import or create quizzes from the Respondus 4.0 product. And if you work in the College of Nursing, you might know this a bit more than others, that product often does not operate the way it's supposed to. I was talking with an instructor there before we were summoned to work remotely. I was telling her, you can do the same thing with a simple text document in Notepad. Now, if you type it in Microsoft Word or in another browser or WordPad, that's what I was thinking about, you would need to save it as a plain text file, and you may have to do some editing on that new document. So if you type it right in Notepad, it's the quickest way. So with the AIKEN format, it's the easier of the two, and it's great for multiple choice and true and false questions. And if you see my screen, you should see the Notepad document up right now. Good morning, Jennifer. Good afternoon. How are you? And how are you, Jessica? Hope you two are well. So with the AIKEN format, what you will do is, let's say you have a question, let's say you have a true and false question. Let's say is the mixture of all colors. And I recommend you number your questions just in case whenever you're importing this, you can easily see where the error may have gone. And with true and false questions, you can end them with a period, but if it's a multiple choice, I would end my statement with a colon. And you're going to type your choices. Now, I would do about 5 questions at a time when I'm creating these question banks. So I'm going to save this document here. And you see it's going to be saved as a text document. And let's call it text sample 1. I'm going to save that. It's in my downloads folder. And now I'm going to scroll down to the administration block here, and this can go. I can take that out. Don't need that. And I'm going to go to question bank, and you can import, but I kind of suggest you guys categorize your question banks. And let's create a new one. And obviously you can give the question bank any name you want. And I'll be honest, I recommend that you create more than one question bank in the event that you do have to go online, or even if you teach face-to-face and you administer your exams online, because there are some instructors that do that. I would create several of them, and then I can just create my test as I wish. So that's the question bank that we just created. And now I'm going to import the document there. So I'm in the question bank now. And now I'm going to scroll down to import. And I'm going to select this AIKEN format. You can choose the file or you can drag. And since I do have my downloads folder open, I'm just going to drag this. I'm going to import that. And when you see green messages, that generally means your questions have been imported with no problem. And we're going to continue. If you see an error message, it'll be in red. And you'll hit continue, but no questions will carry over. And now you see the questions that we just typed are now in our question bank. And by default, the answers are shuffled. However, you can go into these and you can choose not to shuffle them. And you see, we selected true as the correct answer. So that grade is automatically populated. And the same with this one. The answer that we selected to be the correct one earlier is populated as the correct answer. And you can leave this one shuffled or you cannot. Though I tell you, if you have students who are taking their tests next to each other and you want to reduce the chance of them having the exact same question on their screen at the same time, I would shuffle my questions as well as my answers, because, you know, students do have a tendency to cheat. Not always, but sometimes they do. So the AIKEN format is the easier of these. Then you have the gift format that it's more or less for matching essays, maybe a fill in the blank, and you can also do multiple choice with it. So I'm going to type one up. And let's say water is an essential nutrient. And we're going to put a T in double brackets to indicate true. These would be true and false. This would be an essay question. I will call you in a minute. This will be a fill in the blank. And let's see number 6. And this is a GIF format. You have true and false, you have an essay, you have a matching, you have a fill in the blank, and then you have a multiple choice. And I'm going to just put these in the same bank that I had the other two. So if I go back to categories and I find that question bank that I just created, I'm going to import these. And I'm going to drag the file. This time I'm going to select GIF. I'm going to import, and it looks like they made it smoothly, which is good, because trying to figure out where you messed up can be a hassle. So that is why I do, again, highly recommend you guys number your questions. And I would do 5 to 10 questions at a time when I'm creating these banks, because, you know, it's easier to see where you messed up and remedy that error. So I'm going to continue. And now you see I have a matching question, I have my essay question, and I have multiple choice, I have a fill in the blank, and I have some true and false. And I am going to be sending copies of these documents to each of you. And this session is being recorded, so I will be emailing this session to you as well. And let's take a look to see if they're operating correctly. And this is the right answer summary, and this is what we put. And it shows that it does indicate that this is operating the way it's supposed to. And this is our fill in the blank. And the correct answer is 2008. That's what we indicated, so that's good. So now, if you go back to your course, you see you've got a question bank ready. If you decide you want to edit these, we're going to edit the settings, and let's edit the quiz. And now let's add some questions. We're going to add these questions from that bank. You can select them all, or you can select the ones that you want. So if we add these selected questions to the quiz, by default, the answer will be 1. However, if you have a matching question and you want to have a point value to each, there are 3 here. So we can make this 3 points. And we're going to save that. And let's go in and make some edits. The penalty for each incorrect try, let's make it 100%. So basically, if they miss 1, they'll get 2 out of 3 points. If they miss 2, they get 1 out of 3 points. So we'll treat this as 3 separate questions in and of itself. Now, when it comes to an essay question, you will have to manually grade that. So I created a short quiz with an essay question and a multiple choice question in this dummy course right here. And I tested it on one of my dummy accounts. Now, if you have an online quiz, this is where you can see where attempts have been have been taken. So you can view the attempts. And this indicates a question that will need to be graded. This is an essay question, and by default, you have to go in and add the points to that. So this question here, see where it says requires grading. You will click on that. You can make comments. So we're going to click that. and you're going to ascribe, you're going to assign the points to that student and hit save. Close this window, and it's going to refresh, and now you see the grade has been added. So if you know you're going to be doing essay questions, you will just need to keep that in mind. And that might come in handy if you're a history instructor, or even if you teach in education, you will probably be doing a lot of essay questions. And again, this is a multiple choice. This is a fill in the blank. This is a matching. This is an essay. This is true and false. And this would also work if you did the brackets with the, one moment. Yes. Oh, it's fine. Yeah. Sorry about that. That was my mom. Okay. Let's say something along this line. It is estimated that let me turn this phone off. I'm in the middle. I'm in a meeting. Okay. You can also do a true and false question like this. However, I find it's easier to simply put the T or the F in these double brackets. However, this works just as well. So now if I go back to that bank that I was in, and I select the category. Okay, I import, hit continue, and now you see my question was successfully placed. And now when it comes to the fill in the blanks, if you want more than one blank, you can do that with the closed questions. And those do have to be done in Moodle. It's also referred to as embedded answers. And then there's also, if you want to enhance the matching questions, you can have items that can be dragged to a certain space. And I'll go into detail more of that within a month, and you'll get more information on that training. So I'm going to send the information out probably at the end of this month on when that will be. I don't have an official date yet. But if you're simply trying to do basic true and false questions or essay, matching, or even like a short fill in the blank, this is a good fit. The AIKEN format I find is, if you're doing multiple choice, it's probably easiest to go with the AIKEN format. If you're doing true and false, you can do either one relatively easily, the GIF or the AIKEN. Now, if you're doing essay questions, you'll want to go with the GIF format, the GIFT. And when you're doing a multiple choice question with multiple choice, again, you do want to ensure that you're putting a colon or so at the end. I would put a colon at the end because, sometimes if you're putting a period, it doesn't recognize it as a question. It simply recognizes it as a statement. And make sure you're typing your question all on one line instead of spacing. Because when you do that, when you type your question on 2 lines with the AIKEN format, sometimes it will interpret this as 2 questions. And I'm going to show you an example. Now you see right here, this is an error message, and you'll have an indication that there was an error importing. And they're saying the question is not completed before the next question. Start on line 3. So you see, because I typed the question on 2 lines, it did interpret it as 2 questions, and one question didn't have any answers attached to it. So because of that, this question was not imported. So you do want to avoid doing that. So that's why I really suggest, if you are going to take this route, I would type these directly in a WordPad document. A Notepad document, rather than WordPad or Microsoft Word or even Google Docs. Because if you type it in any of those other 3, you're going to have to save that document as a plain text, okay, not rich text. And 2, in that new plain text document, you are going to have to do quite a bit of editing. And then, of course, if you do wish to edit these questions once they've imported and you want to add, I don't know, graphs or some sort of drawings to it, you can do so. But you will need to make a note to yourself especially if you work in RMLS, where many of your questions will have a graph or something attached to it. You'll need to make a note to yourself, okay, I'm going to have to go back in and edit that question and include that additional information. And I do apologize that this webinar is not going as smoothly as I thought it would. This was initially supposed to be done via another link, but for some reason that link was broken and I don't know what happened. Like, I didn't get any notice via email. So I'm now trying to get in contact with the company to see what went wrong and why it's suddenly not working. I'm waiting on a response from them. But I'm opening the floor up for questions. And you can leave them in the chat. So this is an AIKEN, which is the most simplistic way for true and false questions, and multiple choice. And then if you're going with the GIFT, this is the easiest way to do your true and false in this format. And then this is what an essay question would look like. And again, I am going to email the participants these sample sheets so that they'll know what's what. And then, of course, e-learning is available for assistance if needed. Right now, we're working, remotely, but you can email either one of us. And then we also do have a generic Gmail account. It's macnieceelearning@gmail.com. I hope that this doesn't look like any questions thus far. So I hope that this has been of some help to you. I'm hoping that you find it useful. And again, you know where you can reach me or Wendy if you have questions. But until next time, goodbye.